Hello and thank you so much for joining me, Alyssa Arundell, for your July monthly tarot card reading. If you haven't already and would like to check out your free 3-card tarot spread, then you can do so in the description box beneath this video. They're written for the past, present and future tenses in mind, so you really get an overarching idea and feel for what's going on in your specific circumstance. But if you would like a more detailed view, you can always reach out to me directly for a live or recorded one-to-one session. I'd also be really honoured if you hit the subscribe button and notification bell. That way you get alerted every time Patrick and I drop a new video, and this includes our daily show. But without further ado, let's get into our reading to see what July holds for you. Hello Cancer, and thank you for joining me for your July 2020 tarot card reading. Let's have a look at your present situation here, Cancer. So the first card that comes up here is the Nine of Swords. Not the most happy chappy to come up. The Nine of Swords can often represent, in its worst form, some sort of depression or anxiety. It can also mean that we're having, you could be having sleepless nights, just worrying, overthinking, and just feeling a little bit drained. But the positive about this card, it is the 9, and 9s represent completion. So I feel that this could be coming to the end of your worries, but it's almost like when we have a bad nightmare, it often gets most scary just before we wake up. And so I feel like you're coming out of a cycle that has maybe felt a bit oppressive to you. But there can be some jarring things that happen within that time. I can only be honest. So we're just going to have a look at what's blocking you here. So we have the 5 of Pentacles as a blockage card. This could mean that you're having some concerns over finances at the moment. The 5 of Coins often represents a feeling of lack, feeling like we don't have. It's a constant worry and fear over money and making ends meet. And if you don't feel as though you're particularly concerned about your finances, it could be worries about where to invest it. Even if you do feel financially abundant, there will still be questions you have to ask yourself about, how and where you invest or spend. So this could be leading to a little bit of sleeplessness, but we're going to have a look now at your foundation to see what this month is built upon. So this is actually a beautiful card. You've got the Empress as your foundation card. The Empress is a very fertile card. It's fruitful, it's abundant, it's full. I think like this way you're feeling, it won't last for long because this is your foundation. Like we've said, the Empress is full, abundant, just surrounded by beauty. And I think that this is really a goal of yours, something you've wanted to attain, to be able to feel comfortable in your own home, in your own circumstance. The worry surrounding your home and finances, I think, will be fleeting, but that doesn't take away from any anxiety that you may be feeling currently. Let's have a little look into your past, because often our past can really have an impact on our future, or at least our present situation. So you have here a very interesting card to come up in the past. You have the 9 of Wands. Now, the 9 of Wands often means that you feel you need to stand up for something you believe in. And really, it's the activist within you. Especially if you're involved in some kind of advocacy work. I feel that this card is saying that you really had to stand your ground, and you may have even lost some friends over it. But in the long run, I really feel this is going to serve you well, because through these battles, or these perceived battles, a lot of beauty can grow. And so I feel as though, yes, the majority of you having to fight your way to freedom is behind you in some ways. You put in the hard work and the legwork, but it doesn't mean that there won't be any emotional scars left over from that. We're going to have a look at what spiritually crowns you now. This is your spiritual influence, which is beautiful. You have here the Three of Wands. The Three of Wands is very much about teamwork. It can be about business. So it could be a new job role. I feel the people that you are going to be working with in your life, whether it's in your career or even your family situation, you've kind of all got each other's back. I feel like there's a lot of loyalty coming in, and you know the people you can trust now. And they may only be a few people, it may only be one or two other people, but that is worth more than all the acquaintances on earth, because those people have really got your back and really have your best interests at heart. I think are going to either make themselves known to you if you don't already feel you have that, or are just going to be there for you currently, particularly within your spiritual evolution. So we're going to have a look at your immediate future for this month, Cancer, and it is the Ten of Swords. Again, it's not the happiest, but what we have here is a story unfolding, because you started off with the 9. We said 9 was completion. This is a full stop at the end of a sentence. This might be the last letter of a sentence, but this is the full stop. The Ten of Swords. We can, you can feel a little bit drained when this card comes up, a bit exhausted, and almost as though you're picking the swords out of your back, a bit like a Caesar situation. You might have felt a bit of betrayal. But again, you do have these allies who really do have your back. So you've had to stand up for what you believe. You may have lost people over that. You may have faced some kind of betrayal. But ultimately, you know who's on your side and who isn't now. And that is going to be a good thing moving forwards, even if it does feel quite painful in the moment. The next card we're going to look at for you, Cancer, is your state of mind. Your state of mind here is the Four of Cups. Now, the Four of Cups, some people feel this card is very negative in some ways. It can leave you feeling a bit drained and a bit fed up, a bit apathetic as well. But actually, in other ways, it's just that we're not seeing what's in front of us. When this card appears, and I think we may have talked about this in previous months if this card has come up for you, it's kind of like buying a really expensive piece of jewellery and never wearing it out because you're scared of losing it. So it constantly stays in a drawer, which keeps it safe, but also it wastes it. So it's kind of like, are you wasting skills and talent in order to protect yourself? This is a state of mind card. You may have had to feel as though you've cocooned yourself. Could be away from society a bit. Could be away from certain family members. Could be you've cocooned yourself away to protect yourself. But in doing so, you can sometimes close yourself off to the beauty of life, particularly around relationships if you've been hurt. It's like my great grandmother used to say, if you fall off the horse, you've got to get right back on. And, in some ways this is true, because it's like the further or the longer we stay away from experiencing things in life, the harder it can be to get back into. So some leaps of faith may be required for you to take this month, Cancer. But I think that's really exciting. Now, your outside influence that has an impact. Well, we had two cards that pop out, so I'm going to talk about that one in just a minute. The first one that comes up is the Four of Wands. This is your family. The Four of Wands is our structure, our safety, our home. And so as an outside influence, I feel as though it's kind of like you're the mother hen trying to glue your family back together, or trying to maybe it's as simple as having contact with your family, especially if you've been in isolation over this COVID-19 awful pandemic. So it could be that you're able to reach out, maybe meet up with them again. And I think in a good sense, I'm getting a good feeling from this card. There's some reconciliation, some sort of meeting up. Now, the other card that came out for your outside influence, this is really interesting. This is the Knight of Pentacles. Now, I feel that this could be news about your finances. I feel like we've been saying this for quite a few months, Cancer, that you have had to have a lot of patience and waiting Finally, I think you're going to hear something. Finally, this month, I think something is going to come through the post that is going to make you smile. So that's just an added little message that flew out to hopefully give you something to really look forward to this month. Now, your hopes and fears for this month, Cancer, is the King of Cups. This is going to be different for everybody because obviously this is a generalized reading, but going back to what we were saying about the Four of Cups, where it's like shielding yourself off if you've been hurt in a relationship, a hope and fear could be that somebody comes into your life. And the hope of this is obvious, that companionship, that kinship, that soul connection. A fear is getting hurt again, or maybe even feel rejection. And so I just think the guidance that's coming through is to just go for it. If this doesn't really resonate in terms of a romantic relationship for you, Cancer, I feel as though what you're really wanting here, because whilst cups can represent our love lives, it's our emotions. And so I feel like you just, like the Empress was your foundation card, you want your home to be a beautiful, safe place. So perhaps it's felt a bit chaotic at the moment, a bit untidy even. You're going to be getting your house in order again. And that's something to look forward to. Now, we're going to have a look at your outcome. Now, bear in mind, outcomes can always change because we have free will. And this is obviously, we can all interpret the outcome differently because we all have different situations. But let's see what's being picked up. Okay, the Five of Swords. It could be that there is some argument that still needs to be had, Cancer, and I don't think this is a bad thing. Sometimes having an argument can really clear the air. So if we look at this as an outcome, you might think, well, that's not a very positive outcome. I don't want to be arguing. But actually, perhaps it is about you having to put your foot down a little bit, particularly if you have been betrayed. You don't always have to be the one that keeps the peace. Maybe sometimes you keep things inside as well. You know, are you good at cutting people out of your life but never saying how you actually feel? I know that's quite a confrontational sort of statement, but sometimes we really have to say how we feel in order to heal and move forwards. And that could be something that really liberates you. So all this advocacy work, all of this work for other people is fantastic. But claiming back your right to have a voice is going to be something that's particularly good for you this month, Cancer. Thank you so much for joining me this month. I really do feel very honoured to have you in this space and to be in your presence. If you would, again, like to check out your free 3-card tarot spread, you can do so by clicking the link beneath this video. And if you would like to reach out for a one-to-one recorded, live or emailed reading with me, I'd be honoured to do that with you as well. But until we speak again next month, take care and have a very safe month. Alyssa.